Okay, we're continuing with Dr. John McDougall talking about obesity and fat, part 4 from this book, the John McDougall, the Doctor Who Fought for You by me, Pete Rogers. So we're talking here about the McDougall diet. And the McDougall diet is a 100% vegan diet. It is starch-based. Dr. McDougall says you should eat 90% of your calories. That's not a misprint. 90% of your calories from starch. And then 5% each from fruits and veggies. I wrote 10 there. It should be 5% each from fruits and veggies. There's plenty of papers showing the benefits of the Dr. McDougall diet. By the way, that comes out to about 80-10-10. 80% calories from carbohydrate, 10% from fat, 10% from protein, and even really probably a little bit lower than that in the fat, potentially in the protein. Okay, anyways, reference. Effective 7 days eating the McDougall diet at the McDougall program. On average, total cholesterol dropped 22 points. Blood pressure dropped 18 points systolic. Okay, another reference. Low-fat plant-based diet in the MS patients. Their total cholesterol average was reduced. There was another study called the Broad Study. I don't have the time length written there, but total cholesterol was reduced, at 12 months by -20. Below ground plant storage foods like potatoes and sweet potatoes are nutritionally complete. Potatoes and sweet potatoes are complete except for B12. Above ground plant storage foods, they're going to be a little low in vitamin A and C, which you can easily get by eating fruits and veggies. The starch is basically a polymer of glucose wrapped in fiber. Okay, McDougall makes a point that all these large populations since the beginning of time, they've all been, plant-based. The Aztecs were the people of the corn. Potatoes have been the sustaining food in the Andes of South America for 13,000 years. Wheat and barley was the sustaining food of the Middle East for thousands of years. The Middle East was known as the breadbasket of the world. Asia has primarily eaten rice for the last 10,000 years. In the Middle East, they've eaten barley and oats for the last 11,000 years. In Africa, they're eating millet. They've eaten millet and sorghum for the last 6,000 years. In the Near East, they've eaten wheat for the last 10,000 years. And all these populations, the people are thin. There's no wheat belly. There's no grain brain. There's none of that nonsense that you've heard about probably recently. So anyways, Dr. McDougall says, hey, there is no large, healthy population that's fruitarian. Humans are starchivores. One of the big differences between humans and other primates is that we are designed to digest starch. That's why we were able to move away from the equator, but the other primates can't. Hunter-gatherer populations were mostly gatherers, and humans are starchivores. Old-school anthropologists overemphasize meat consumption in early humans because bone remnants last longer than plant remnants. 99.9% of all people who ever walk this earth have eaten starch-based diets. However, more recent anthropologists have been able to study petrified feces from about 600,000 years ago, and they have concluded that early humans ate starch, and that early humans, Neanderthals, ate cooked starch 50,000 years ago. So cooking dates back over 1 million years. Brain development requires an abundance of carbohydrates. I showed you that PET scan in a video I made recently. The brain burns tons and tons of glucose, by far more than any other organ in the body. Brain development requires an abundance of carbohydrates. The brain burns 20% of the calories we eat, and it prefers carbohydrates, despite the fact it's really light. It only weighs about 3 pounds. Okay, eating, so it's like, 2% of our body weight, but it's burning 20% of our calories. Eating cooked starch is what enabled humans to develop the brain power that they have. You've been told that the agricultural revolution started 10,000 years ago, but in reality, people have been eating starches for hundreds of thousands of years. Anthropologists have found starch grains in the teeth and in the feces of other ancient populations from thousands of years ago. Okay, so, all right, that's going to be our topic for today. The Dr. McDougall diet there. 90% of the calories from starch, 5% from fruits and vegetables, what he recommends to start. He says you start with that, you'll be amazed at how healthy you get, and then you can always start studying the other parts. But start with that. 90% of calories from starch, 5% from fruits, 5% from veggies. That's how you get yourself out of health problems. That's your best chance.